there, Sister Lanisha. How you doing? It's Brother Casey. Just wanted to give you a part two to the finance thing and the faith stuff that we talked about, and how last time I mentioned I was living in Culver City and all that. The rest of that, the next part of the story is when I'm living in Culver City, and the Lord had finally blessed me with transportation, even though I didn't have a bank account or even good credit at all. And next thing I know, I have this car on credit. Actually, I don't know if I told you that story. What happened was I didn't have any transportation, and I was living in Culver City, and I got this job in Brea, California, which is about an hour from Culver City, and I had no transportation. And Pastor Shell at the time, we were just dating. She saw a commercial for a company that gave out, I guess, cars to people with no credit, because I had no credit or a bank account. And so she said, "Why don't we try that?" And I said, "Okay, cool, let's go." And so we went down there. I found a car, and long story short, I got a car and with no credit, and once again, no bank account. And they gave me this car, a car loan at that. And so God had blessed because we operated in faith and just went out there, not based on what we had, what we thought we knew, or even our circumstances, or if we were qualified. We just went because we felt like God told us to go to that particular dealership. So I ended up, that was on a Friday. Saturday, I was at the dealership. Monday morning, I drove a rental car. Somehow, again, God blessed me where without a bank account, I was able to rent a car for one day while they got my car that I purchased ready. So I drove myself to that new job on that Monday, and Tuesday I went and picked up my car and dropped off the rental car. So here I am now, living in Culver City, have a new job. I've got transportation now, and I just started going to school. And all these things happened like within a month, and I went from a period, like I said, from 97 until, I want to say, to right before Christmas or something like that, when all this stuff happens. But I had to go through a period of not necessarily a dry season, but a learning season, where I had to learn faith and my relationship with God and what it really meant, that He has got me. And I don't have to worry about anything. If He told me to do it, it's going to get done. If He says I belong to Him now, I belong to Him, and He'll take care of me. Well, Pastor Shell and I dated for 3 years while I lived in Culver City, and we decided we're going to go ahead and get married. And we actually knew we were going to get married within a couple of weeks of dating each other, but nevertheless, we decided we were going to get married. It took a year preparing for all that stuff, so it was 3 years all total of dating before we got married. Then one day, she and I are out riding around. This is while we're preparing for the wedding, and we were just thinking we were going to rent an apartment to start our marriage. And so we were riding around. We were out in Glendale, because that's where her old apartment used to be when she was single. So we're riding around, and we see this open house, and this house is about $400,000, which is today about $800,000 or $900,000. We had no business even going to that open house. But what we did was we decided, well, let's just go in there and just take a look around. It'll just be fun looking at this expensive house. This house was gigantic. It was 3 stories. It had a pool house. It was just amazing. So we go in there. We start talking with the real estate agent, and we just be honest with them and just tell them, "Hey, listen, this house is more than we can afford. We're going to be getting married soon, and we're just considering renting a nice property someplace." He said, "Well, have you thought about buying a condo?" We're like, "Nah, we're trying to rent. We don't even know if we have good enough credit for no condo," because both of us had just started jobs, and we really didn't have much. And I think I had just now started having a bank account. But the guy said, "Well, listen, I'll tell you what we can do. I'm going to take your information down. I know of a building, because I live in a building where there's going to be a condo coming up. I think she's going to be willing to sell at a good price." We're like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." Gave him my number, didn't think nothing of it. He called us and said, "She's getting ready to sell." And why don't you guys come on down? He's like, yeah, whatever. Let's just go. So we went and took a look at it. It was beautiful. It was out in Toluca Lake. And on the 3rd floor, we had a balcony, all this. It was just really nice. And so we were like, yeah, right, we're not going to get this property. He said, well, you just never know. Let's go ahead and apply for it. We're like, okay, we'll apply. Went ahead and applied, and we got it. We couldn't believe it. We were arranging our marriage and going through an escrow on our property at the same time. And we couldn't believe it. We're like, look what God has done. I went from walking everywhere to not knowing where I was going to live to having a place in Culver City that came out of an amazing encounter, a divine encounter. And then now I'm going to be a homeowner, and we're not married yet. So we arrange our wedding. We go on our wedding. Now, how many weddings do you know where the people go on a wedding and they come back debt free? We paid for everything: our reception, our the wedding, and all the people, the photographers, and all that kind of stuff, and the use of the sanctuary, I believe. And I think we paid pastor, and just all that stuff. We helped pay for the people to have a place to stay. Everybody stayed in a hotel. For my family that came out, just everything was paid, and we went on our honeymoon. And you know how they give you all these gifts? Well, most people just gave us cash and checks. We had a few $1,000s from our wedding in just cash. That's not the checks. And so we took all the cash that we have, and believe it or not, I reserved a place in Florida for our honeymoon, and I didn't have any money for the honeymoon. All the money I had was spent towards the wedding and reserving the place in the rental car for the honeymoon. I had no cash, but I went on the wedding knowing somehow God was going to provide. I didn't have a credit card either. Now we're just getting started with life. And so when we got married, the night we left the next day after the honeymoon, and sorry, something just caught my attention over there. Look at that. That's a beautiful house. This is for sale. Well, when y'all put a bid in, who knows? Maybe God does that for you. So we went on the honeymoon with just the cash. Went out there, had a blast. We were gone for a week, and I came back with $300 in my pocket. And we had about, I'm not kidding, about 30 checks to put in the bank from the wedding. So we came back from our wedding. The condo had closed the escrow. So we came back from our wedding to our new condo, ours alone, with a couple $100 in the bank, and we had literally a few $1,000s to put in the bank in checks from the wedding. So we came back from our honeymoon with more money than we left with. No debt. Everything's paid for. And that's what God will do when you go through periods where it seems like you're in lack, but you're not. You're in training. God is teaching you that you're his source, not money. You're his source, not the money. Frankly, it doesn't matter how much money people get in their lives. You can win $100 million. You're still going to feel like you ain't got enough because there's so much more you want to do. And also, how can you keep it? And also, how can you expand it for your family? But unless you have a mindset where the money is not your focus, when you get $100 million, it lasts you for generations because it's in the right perspective, where God is your source, not the money. So here's actually going to be a part 3. Yeah, got home quicker than I thought I would. But to sum it up, God did all of that by going through that period where I had nothing, where he taught me how to walk and operate in faith, as well as with Sister Son. He did the same thing with her, because there was a period where she no longer had a job at the county and had to figure out what to do, and didn't have a job, and had rent to pay. And funny thing about that, I'm gonna shut this off, is she was didn't have a job. The county had just done some crazy stuff. So here she is needing transportation because there was a car problem. She goes to a dealership. That white car you see sitting right there was sitting on the showroom floor. and she said, "That's a beautiful car." You know, that particular model Honda it was brand new. So she went in and just applied for it. Now what happened was, to check her finances, the county of LA owed her a check. And so she had gotten that check and then another check from some other entity. So it looks like she had two sources of income, even though she didn't have a job, but the checks were sources of income. And she was previously, working with the county. So it looks like she had two jobs, but she just got two checks in the mail. And the dealership took those, and she bought that car right off the showroom floor with no job, on credit. That's why we've called that car the miracle car. And it's been with us since 1998 when it was brand new. We put all the miles on it. And for whatever reason, it's been around and I don't think it's ever going to go anywhere because it's just been that car for us. But anyway, long story short, I'll make another version of part 3, but I guess we can just call this the wealth transfer series because it's really learning about godly wealth, prosperity in Christ Jesus. Wealth spiritually produces natural wealth in the physical because everything is done in the spirit first. Okay, so God says, "No, whatsoever no eye have seen nor ear heard what God has for them that love Him." So whatever you can imagine or dream, most likely God put that vision in your mind, but it's still not touching the surface to what He has for you. Any house you see here, if any of these look good to you, He's got a better house than that for you. But we have to go through the process first. Okay? So, don't think you're in lack, you're in training. All right. Catch you in a little bit. Part 3, I guess, maybe a week or two.